I've got you under my skin. I've got you deep in the heart of me, so deep in my heart that you're really a part of me.
No, it's red.
Now it is.
Oh.
You want me to sit in the middle that way you have a point of focus, or?
I don't care.
No, thanks.
This is totally useless. Okay, welcome. So the first thing I'm going to do is open a gate to heaven. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to ask all the angels in the north to open a gate to heaven. Wait a minute, that's not the north. Yeah, that's the north. North. In the south, all the angels in the south open the gate to heaven. In the west, open a gate to heaven. And in the east, open a gate to heaven. Allow only what is good in this space, and allow whatever has to move and go into its right place to go into its right place. I'd like to ask all the angels who are healers to be present. I'd like to ask all of the spiritual masters to be present. Everybody's personal guides to be present and help with this process. I'd like to ask the elementals to be present. And I'd like to ask all the earth spirits to be present and help us with this healing modality. I'm Mike Harrell, and I teach Language Lessons of the Heart. And Language Lessons of the Heart is based on 4 processes. Emotional release, which is emotional release, if you don't know what that is, Judgment and denial release, talking to the parts of self, and what was the other one?
Power.
And the empowerment. We're going to try to do all these today. But the talking to the parts of self is we have 4 parts to ourself that we're using in this. I mean, there's a lot of different chakra systems, a lot of different ways of looking at your chakras and your energy centers. In psychology, they have the id, the ego, and the superego. And in transactional analysis, they have adult, parent, and child. But in here, we're using spirit, heart, will, and body. Will is in this area, and spirit is in this area. So your whole head is your spirit, then there's your heart in the middle, and will down here, and everything's reflected in your body. So, it is these energies which are thought and feeling. Thought and feeling. Thought inspires and feeling receives the inspiration. So, thought always passes down through heart, hits onto the will, the emotional body, and the emotional body will send back up what is being felt. Truth or lie. Harmony or disharmony. And it doesn't do that with words, it does that with feelings. So there's the inspiration, which is your thoughts, and the receiving of that inspiration. So if it's harmonious and loving, then your will is harmonious and loving. So the primary core understanding about these 4 parts is your thoughts are always speaking to your will. Your spirit is always speaking to your will, and your will receives. You know, the man gives and the woman receives. You know, that's the nature. This is the yang energy, the yin energy. And they're supposed to be in balance, and when they're imbalanced, heart is imbalanced. And if they're not in balance, if the man and the woman inside of you are not in balance, then your heart never can fully open. Because the heart, in some ways, like a wounded child, is either pulled towards the father or pulled towards the mother. And if he pulls towards the father, then he has to hate the mother. Or if he pulls towards the mother, he has to hate the father. And that's why we have heartlessness in the world, and that's how we can be heartless with ourselves. is that actually because our thoughts and feelings aren't congruent, aren't in alignment, and aren't in love. This is why it's called Language Lessons of the Heart. Even though for most of this workshop here in Austin, it's going to be about, spirit and will, spirit and will, spirit and will. Oh, what's the will? Will in the body and all that kind of stuff. But in reality, keep in mind that the end result is that when spirit and will gets balanced, they balance in the heart. And that's why it's called Language Lessons of the Heart, because the language going on between yourself and your will, between your thoughts and your feelings, that language, if it's not loving, then you're not loving to yourself, and that element of not loving to yourself goes out. And that's who you are. So this is why Language Lessons of the Heart is named that. So, the first exercise we're going to do is the empowerment. Because we have never had this understanding that our thoughts affect our feelings, that our feelings, what we've had is the inner child work, right? So, you're the parent, abuses the child, but you're the parent up here, and you're rough, or you're either nice or not nice to your inner child. So your will is very much your inner child in that scenario. You're the parent, and then your will is the child. So we have that understanding of that internal dialogue, but we don't have it as the man and the woman. So, and that goes to relationships, physical relationships between a real man and a real woman, right? Then the spirit always represents the man and the will represents the woman. So if I'm a woman and I'm relating to a man, then that man is in alignment with my thoughts. So if my thoughts abuse me, then the man will abuse me. You understand? Or if I'm the man and the woman doesn't hear me, doesn't connect to me, it's because my own will is not connected to me. I'm disconnected. So there's a one-to-one relationship with relationships, external relationships not working out or working out, has to do with the internal dialogue of the individual person. And this is critical because everybody's got problems with relationships, not knowing that the problem that they have with a relationship is actually the problem that they have with their own thoughts and feelings, which is your primary relationship. It's called core. Your core energy, your core consciousness, or primal. Primal, it's primary. The primary relationship is you to your heart, your spirit to your will, and your spirit to your body. And this is way out of balance in this world. We are living in our heads. Our consciousness is plastered to the top of our heads, and we look out, and we hear out, and we ignore from the waist down. It's so bad that men in suits have a tie right here that to keep you from going down into the body, and anything below that doesn't matter, you see? But it does matter, because if the same kind of thing that goes on inside of us, between the man and the woman inside of us, it's the exact same thing that goes on in government. The government doesn't listen to the heart of the people. The government doesn't listen to the will of the people. The government doesn't care about the body of the people. You see what I'm saying? It's the same exact pattern from the big macro in society to your family, and then to your own inner world. It's the same. So whatever you heal in here definitely connects to your family, to your relationships, and then out to society. And that's why, and it's because it is core and primal. And that's what it's all about. So we don't know where our healing is or how much healing we have to do. So the first thing we have to do is the empowerment. So the empowerment goes like this. I'm empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will. So everybody stand up. And we're going to practice the empowerments. So just start saying them in any way you want. We're going to go for multiply. We're going to go for volume here, not quality. I'll coach you on how to keep moving it. So I'm empowering myself.
I'm empowering myself
with a strong and loving intent to heal my will you help me?
with a strong and loving intent to heal my will you help me?
Right. I'm empowering myself over and over. We want to do 1,000 of them today.
I am
empowering myself
With a strong and loving intent to heal my will.
Will you help me? I am empowering myself with a strong and loving will
to heal my will. Will you help me?
me?
Will you help? I am empowering myself with
Strong and loving intent.
To heal my will. Will you help me?
I want
Now,
to live. I want to be fulfilled.
take your free hand and say it to your spirit. And say it to your spirit. I'm empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will.
I'm empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will. Will you help me?
Say it again.
I am empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will.
And you're asking your spirit. You're talking to your spirit. You're asking your spirit. Now do it to your heart. I'm empowering myself.
I'm empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will.
And you're asking your
Will
heart.
you help me?
Right. Say it again.
I am empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will. Will you help me?
And now to your will.
I'm empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will. Will you help me?
And to your body.
I empower myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will. Will you help me?
Keep going.
I am empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will. Will you help me?
Now,
I'm empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will. Will you help me? I'm empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will. Will you help me?
okay, now I want you to emphasize one word at a time. So I am empowering myself, and then I am empowering myself. So each time you say it, and emphasize a different word. Okay? And you all are in harmony. Instead of being in harmony, be in disharmony. So you say it to your own speed. Instead of falling in line with everybody.
I am empowering myself
So-
with a strong and loving intent to heal my will.
Will you help me?
I am empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will. Will you help me? I am empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will. I'm empowering myself with a strong and
I
loving
am
intent
empowering
to heal
myself
my
with
will.
a strong
Will you help me?
loving intent to heal
Will you
my
help
will.
myself with a strong and loving intent to
Empowering
heal my
myself
will?
with a strong
Will you help
loving
me?
intent to
I am
heal my
empowering
will.
myself with
Will you
a
help me?
strong and loving intent
I
to
am
heal my
empowering
will. Will you
myself
help
with
me?
a strong and
I'm
loving
empowering
intent to heal
myself
my
with a
will. Will you
strong
help
and
me?
loving intent to heal my will.
I
Will
am
you help
empowering
me?
myself with
I
a
am
strong
empowering
and
myself with a
loving
strong
intent
and
to
loving
heal
intent
my
to heal
will.
my will.
Will you help me?
And I have two other empowerments. You have it on your list there? What's the other two?
I want to be fulfilled. Will you help me?
I want to live. Will you help me?
Okay, and then that's kind of like the bottom line, open-ended. It doesn't really have a meaning. It is all feeling, but it is not specific because you're already living. But it means to live, right? And it means to be fulfilled. You don't know what fulfilled is. It doesn't matter what fulfilled is, but you want fulfillment. Will you help me? Okay, so do those two as well. So when you get tired of or you run out of gas, or it's starting to sound fake, the empowerment process, then you can say, I want to live, because that's what you really want to live. What Language Lessons of the Heart does is give you more life and let you live fuller and richer, more fulfilled. Okay, and that's really what the goal is. So, I want to live. Please, will you help me?
I want to be fulfilled.
Will you help me?
Will you help me?
I want to live. Will you help me? I want to be filled. Will you help me? I want to be filled. Will you help me?
I want to be fulfilled.
Fulfilled. Will you help me? I want to live. Will you help me? I want to be fulfilled. Will you help me? I want to live. Will you help me? I am empowering myself with the strong and loving intent to heal my will. Will you help me? I want to be fulfilled. Will you help me? I want to live. Will you help me? I am empowering myself with the strong and loving intent to heal my will. Will you help me? I want to be fulfilled. Will you help me? I want to live. Will you help me?
Okay, now you remember when I asked the 4 directions, the angels to hold open the space, sacred space. So say it to each of the 4 directions and to the angels. Because you're going to ask them, I'm empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will. You can ask the God and the angels or whoever you feel is up there. So this is like a request to the cosmos. I'm empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will. Will you help me? Yeah? I'm empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will. Will you help me? Right?
I'm empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will. Will you help me? I am empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will.
I want to live. Will you help me?
I'm empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will.
I am empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will.
I'm empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will.
Will you help me?
Will you
I
help
want
me?
to live.
I'm empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal
I
my
am
will.
empowering
Will you
myself
help
with
me?
a strong and loving intent to heal my will. Will you help me? I want to be fulfilled. Will you help me?
Okay, if you have any spirit guides, say it to your spirit guides personally. Okay, so go ahead, say it to your spirit guides or spirit animals or relatives or any kind of being or angels or anybody who you think has ever helped you on the spirit level. Ask them. Express to them, ask them for help.
I am empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will. Will you help me? I want to be fulfilled.
Help me.
Will you
I
help
want
me?
to be fulfilled.
I want
Will
to
you
live.
help me? I
Will you
want to
help me?
live. Will you help me?
That's all your spirit guides. That's all you got?
Oh, all the way around?
No. In terms of how many spirit people you have, right? Say it to the air. You breathe the air all the time. Say it to the air. Ask tell your intent to the air, and ask the air if it will help you. Yeah.
I want to live. Will you help me?
I want to live. Will you help me? I want to
Empowering
be
myself with a
fulfilled.
strong and
Will
loving
you help me?
Strong and loving.
I'm empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will. Will you help
Will you
me?
help me? I want to live.
I want to be fulfilled. Will you
I am
help me?
empowering myself with the
I
strong
want to
and
live.
loving
Will you
intent to
help me?
heal my will. Will you help
I'm
me?
empowering
I want
myself
to be
with a strong and
fulfilled.
loving
Will you
intent
help
to
me?
heal my
I
will.
want to live. Will you help me?
I want to be
I am
fulfilled.
empowering
Will you
myself
help me?
with a strong and loving intent to heal my will. Will you help me? I want to be fulfilled. Will you help me? I want to live. Will you help me?
Okay, let's do, have each one of you say it, come up to me and say it to me, convince me, tell me your intent.
I'm empowering myself to heal. I am empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will. Will you help me?
Yes.
Yes.
I want to be fulfilled. Will you help me?
Yes.
I want to live. Will you help me?
Yes. Now you can say it.
I am empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will. Will you help me?
Yes.
I want to be fulfilled. Will you help me?
Yes.
I want to live.
Yes.
Will you help me?
Yes, yes.
I'm empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will. Will you help me?
Yes.
I want to live. Will you help me? I want to be
Yes.
fulfilled. Will you help me?
Okay, now say it to each other one at a time. Take turns.
Go ahead.
I'm empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will. Will you help me?
Sure.
I want to live. Will you help me?
Sure.
I want to be fulfilled. Will you help me?
Sure. I'm empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will. Will you help me?
Yes.
I want to live. Will you help me?
Yes.
I want to be fulfilled. Will you help me?
Yes.
I'm empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will. Will you fulfill? Will you help me?
Yes.
I want to live. Will you help me?
Yes.
Let her say it back to you.
I'm empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will. Will you help me?
Yes.
I want to live. Will you help me?
Yes.
I want to be fulfilled. Will you help me?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Did you guys did it
I am
already?
empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will. Will you help me?
Yes.
I want to be fulfilled. Will you help me?
Yes.
I want to live. Will you help me?
Yes.
Okay, how does that feel so
Feels
far?
so good.
Okay, so we're going to do something fun since we're out here in the country. We're going to go outside and say it to the plants and the trees and the sky. All right?
It's my mom's prayers. I'm strong and loving intent to heal my will.
And the will is down here in your emotional body, right?
That's why I go like this all the time.
That's right. That's why you go like this. And when you're upset, it's ugh. And when you're happy, it's like, ooh,
Like,
butterflies.
look at this.
Yeah. Okay, now we're going to do something harder. Are you afraid?
No.
Okay, so let's go with a range of emotion. Let's think about this as an acting class, and your line is, I'm empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will. That's the line that you know, but we want to say it with different emotions. Okay? Say it with anger. Say it as a commandment. Say it as out of fear. Say it out of grief. Say it out of sadness, or say it out of joy, or say it out of gratitude. Okay? So let's open up the emotions. Instead of just reading it from our head, pull up the emotions of whatever it is you might want to feel and explore the emotions. All right? I'm empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will. I say it as a commandment. I'm empowering myself.
With a strong and loving intent to heal my will. Will you help me?
Yeah,
You help me.
that's a commandment. Say it as a prayer.
I am empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will. Will you help me?
I'm empowering myself with a strong and
Grief.
loving intent to heal my will.
So
Will
some
you
grief.
help me?
That's right, grief or desperation.
I'm empowering myself
I empower
with a strong and
myself with
loving
a strong
intent
and
to heal
loving-
my will.
Strong and
Will you help
loving
me?
intent to heal my will. Will you help me?
Yeah, I want to be fulfilled.
I
want to be fulfilled.
With a strong, high, and loving intent to heal my will.
I want to live. Will you help me?
Will you help me?
So what other emotions can you reach? Gratitude? Regret?
No, happy.
Happy. Okay, happy dance. Yay! I'm empowering myself with a strong. Yay!
To heal my will. Will you help me?
More emotions. Because right now we're in a very narrow. What about anxiety? What about fear? What about depression? Because it is when you're anxious, it's when you're depressed, it's when you're lost, that's a good time to heal, right? You want to be there with your intent when you're in that kind of a place, or when you're enraged, or when you're in grief. You want that intent to heal to be there. So no matter what it is, there's always an intent to heal packed into it already, because you did your empowerment. So go to the places that you don't want to go emotionally. What was the worst thing that happened to you? Say it in that.
I'm empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will. Will you help me?
I'm empowering myself with a strong.
and loving intent to
Ugh.
Will you help me?
Empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will. Will you help me? Empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will. Will you help me?
Say it being stuck, because everybody right now is stuck. So say it being when you're stuck. We get stuck.
Oh, I'm empowering
stuck.
myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will. Will you help me?
Yeah, is this what it is? I'm empowering myself. I'm empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will. You know, I don't know what to do. This must be a healing event. Yeah?
Yeah.
Feels good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Instead of it being a life sentence, it is a healing event. And that's why you say the empowerment so many times and in so many ways. Yeah? Any more emotions you can? How about love? You love your dog, you love your family, you love your children. Say it to them in that love that you'd have for your dog, your family, your children, your parents.
Empowering myself with strong and loving intent to heal my will. Will you help me?
Empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will.
I'm good. Will you help me? Will you help me?
Struggle with it. Struggle with it. In the places like where you want, like when you want to stop. You know, there's so many times in our life when we want to take a step forward, and then we stop. Say it in that place, because in that place where you want to stop, what's holding you back, what's keeping you from moving forward, say it in that place. Say it in that way. See yourself as stopping. You're stopping your healing or stopping your evolution. Say it there.
Empowering myself with
Strong and loving intent to heal my will.
for your help.
Will you help me?
Thank you for your help. Yeah.
Oh, very much.
I want to live. I want to be fulfilled. Thank you for your help.
Oh, I want to live. I want to be fulfilled. Thank you for your help.
Pay attention to when you stop and why you stop. Why do you stop? You're paying to do this, so why stop? Struggle with it. You struggling? Struggle with it.
Thank you for your help. I'm empowering myself with a strong and intent to heal my will. I want to live. I want to be fulfilled. Thank you for your help. I'm empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will. I want to live.
Empower myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will. Thank you for your help. I want to live. I want to be fulfilled. Thank you for your help. Empower myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will. Thank you for your help. I want to live. I want to be fulfilled. Thank you for your help. I'm empowering myself.
It doesn't matter how quiet it is, but the important part about doing any of this work is so that your ears can hear it.
Yeah.
It's not an internal thing. You want it up through your heart chakra. You know, so any little, it can be a whisper, but your ears have to hear it. And then it's an empowerment. Then it's manifesting in the world.
I empower myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will. Will you help me? I want to be fulfilled. Will you help me? I want to live. Will you help me? I am empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will. Will you help me? I want to be fulfilled. Will you help me? I want to live. Will you help me? I'm empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will. Will you help me? I want to fulfill. Will you help me?
To heal my will. Will you help me?
I want to live. Will you
I
help
want to
me?
be fulfilled. I want to live. Will you help me? I'm empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will. Will you help me?
Okay, now we're still exploring. So you're in a workshop setting, but what about tomorrow? What about Tuesday or Wednesday, right? When there's no workshop. In your imagination, use your imagination and go into Tuesday and Wednesday and next week Go into there, and in those times, be there and say your empowerment, and see yourself saying the empowerment there. So say it into your future.
I am empowering myself with the strong and loving intent to heal my will. Will you help me?
Walk into your future and saying it. Say it. I said walk into your future in your imagination.
I'm empowering myself with a strong and
I am
loving
empowering
intent
myself
to
with a
heal
strong and
myself.
loving intent to
Will
heal
you
my
help
will.
me?
Will you help me?
I want
I
to
want
be
to live.
fulfilled.
I want to
Will
be
you help
fulfilled. Will you
I
help me?
want to
I am
live.
empowering
Will
myself
you
with the
help
strong
me?
and loving intent to heal my will. Will you help me? I want to live. Will you help me? I want to be fulfilled. Will you help me? I am empowering myself with the strong and loving intent to heal my will. Will you help me? I want to be fulfilled. Will you help me? I want to live. Will you help me?
And the next week, and the next month, and the next month, you want to see that, you want to see that, imagine that, you want to see that into your future, because that's where your healing work is going to be taking place. Not just in a workshop, it's going to be in your life. So imagine in your life having a strong intent to heal, so no matter what happens, big or small, the intent to heal will be there. You'll have said your empowerments many times. It'll be into the fabric of your being. When I was doing this work, I understood that I had to, because I knew there was a lot of stuff in me, and I knew I needed enough intent so I could go beyond what I didn't even know yet. I learned later, but I didn't know then how much intent I was going to need. So I knew that I needed to create an immaculate intent to heal. This is a shamanistic thing, pure shamanism. You build your intent. You build your intent to heal in this case, and to be fulfilled, and to be connected to those who can help you, to the energies that can help you, and to the people that can help you. For healing, for the transformation of the soul. So use your imagination, because all of our hurts and pain are imaginary. What happened in the past is now imaginary. You have to imagine the past into the future. It's imaginary. And you can also imagine your healing into the future. Yeah? It's imaginary. And this is why it is so important, so powerful. Even though it's simple and the mind wants to scream, stop saying this stupid stuff, it's doing nothing. Let the mind scream. Keep doing it. I'm empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will. Will you help me? Say it to your own mind. It's resisting. Your mind's resisting. Say it to the mind that's resisting.
I want to be fulfilled. Will you help me? I want to live. Will you help me? I am empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will. Will you help me? I want to be fulfilled. Will you help me? I want to live. Will you help me?
Okay, well, let's try something more fun. Everybody here kind of believes a little bit in past lives, so go back to and here's imagination, doesn't have to be real. Okay, it doesn't have to be real. But go back to your first few lifetimes, and say it into those first few lifetimes, your first time on the planet, and then in this lifetime, and then maybe in the land of Pan, or the land of Lemuria, or the land of Atlantis, all these different lifetimes. Go back to them and just say it into each one of those epochs, other lifetimes that you can remember or that you could imagine, and so you can bring that, so you're actually casting that intent to heal in the past. So when it takes root, it'll be the fruitation in this lifetime. How cool is that? How cool is that? It's retrofitting an intention into the past to fruit in the present. So go to your past and imagine in the past, whether you're a little fairy spirit or you're a little monkey spirit, or whether you're a little human being, or whatever it was that you are in the past lives, and hit some of those high moments and bring it back up to the present.
I am empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will. Will you help me?
I am empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will. Will you help me?
Will you help me?
I want to be fulfilled. Will you help me? I want to live. Will you help me?
Will you help me? I am empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will. Will you help me? I want to be fulfilled. Will you help me? I want to live. Will you help me? I am empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will. Will you help me? I want to be fulfilled. Will you help me? I want to live. Will you help me?
Empowering myself with a strong intent to heal my will. Loving will. Will you help me?
Run out of gas. If you run out of gas, run out of imagination.
We only have a few lives.
How many legs do I
Got
have?
you here.
You figure,
Only took me once.
you figure,
First time.
you figure like 60 years for every life, and we are only dead for 16 months, so that's a lot of lifetimes. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Just to get the flavor for it. So when you do this at home, you can know that you can go into the past, right? Okay. You think we're done yet? No. Take it one more level. Now, also in the past and in the present, think of who your greatest inspiration is. Who is the gurus? Who is the saints? Who are the holy men? Christ, Buddha, Ram, Thoth, the Sufi. Who are these great enlightened men, the great healers, the great teachers? Go into your imaginations and look at them, and do your empowerment to them, and get it, and get that connection to the great healers, and the goddesses, the Durgas and the Shivas and the Kuan Yins and the Mother Mary, and to the great Mother Energy and the great Mother Earth herself as a being. So collect on your team these great enlightened beings. Ask them. They're there. They got nothing to do. They're waiting. You know what I mean? So tag them. I'm empowering myself with a strong and loving intent. Will you help me? I want to be fulfilled. Will you help me? The great gurus.
I want to live.
I'm empowering myself with the strong
The great sages.
to heal my will. Will you help
Strong
me?
and loving intent
I want to be
heal my
fulfilled.
will.
Will you help me?
The great wisdom keepers.
Will you help
I
me?
empower
The shamans.
myself
I'm
with
empowering
strong
myself
and
with the
loving
strong and
intent to heal
loving
my
intent
will.
to
Will
heal
you
my
help
will.
me?
Will you
I
help me?
intend.
I want to be fulfilled. Will you help me? I want to live.
I
Will
want
you
to
help me?
live. I want to be fulfilled. Will you help me?
I'm empowering myself with the strong and loving intent to heal my will. Will you help
I
me?
empower
I want
myself
to be fulfilled. Will
with
you
a
help
strong
me?
and
I
loving
want to
intent
live.
to
Will
heal
you
my
help me?
will. Will you help me?
I am empowering myself with the strong and loving intent to heal my will. Will you help me? I want to be fulfilled. Will you help me? I want to live. Will you help me? You can ask dragons that. You can ask dragons for help.
Absolutely. You can ask dragons, unicorns, I don't care what it is. If it's real to you, it's real to your will.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Anything, yeah.
I'm empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will. Will you help me?
The angels,
I want to be fulfilled. Will you help me? I want to live.
the giants, the fairies,
I am empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal
the
my
goddess
will.
energy,
Will you help me?
the green
I want
goddess,
to be
Terra,
fulfilled.
Terra
Will
the
you
goddess,
help me?
the mother
To
goddess,
live. Will you help me? I am empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will. Will you help me? I want to be fulfilled. Will you help me? I want to live. Will you help me?
Will you help me? Help heal me.
Will you help me?
I am empower myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will. Will you help me? I empower myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will. Will you help me? I want to be fulfilled. Will you help me? I want to live. Will you help me?
And how does that feel, everybody? How does that feel?
Good.
Now, let me ask you, do you feel alone in your healing? You see what I'm saying? What we just did is we collected. What did we collect? Our healing team.
Right.
Right? And we collected it into the future. We collected it into the past. We collected it among ourselves. You see, now what you did is when you do this, and this has only been, 20 minutes or so? But when you do this every day, like, say it 100 times a day or something, what you do is you actually build this healing environment. It's like carrying around your own personal sacred space for healing your will. And this is your will down here. Will, heart, spirit, and body. And this is like so cool. It's so cool. And here's the other thing about the empowerment. Again, this is not for the mind. The mind cannot get it. It doesn't get it. Doesn't want to do it. Doesn't care about doing it. It is irrelevant to the mind. But to your heart, will, and body, it is, yay, happy dance, right? And I'll tell you why. Healing happens in an instant. Right? So you've been crushed and wounded your whole life, and then there's some point where you decide, I'm going to begin to heal, or I can feel I'm beginning to heal now, right? And that may take you 2 years or 3 years, but in that instant, when you went from being more wounded, and then you stopped being wounded, and you began to heal, in that instant right there, that one moment when everything changes and you start going in the other direction, that instant is what this empowerment is for. And that's why it's number one. You want that instant. You want to solidify that instant. So I'm no longer going to be involved with perpetual wounding, perpetual denial, perpetual suffering, lifetime after lifetime. I'm going to make this lifetime when I start to go the other way, to healing and evolving and, and loving and being fulfilled and living the way I'm supposed to. And it's that instant that the empowerment addresses. That one moment, that one transformation. Because like if you're sick with the flu, right? You can be sick for 3 or 4 days with this flu and you're, I'm going to die. And then, maybe the 5th or 6th day, it's like you stop getting worse and you're just normal. But somewhere in there is a moment when you begin to get better. And then the next day you're a little better, next day you're a little better. But there was one moment, you're still sick, everything was the same, but there was that one moment where it changed, and you're not going to die anymore. You're actually going to get on the mend, and then you're over the flu, and see? So it's very organic like that. With emotional healing, it's very much like that. And that's what the empowerments are all about. So that was the empowerment process. I want to say a couple of things before we do the next process. One is, you're going to teach that's just so wonderful that everybody here, even though we're a small group, everybody here is going to be is seeing themselves as being teachers in the future. With Language Lessons of the Heart, we start all of this with a different understanding. You have people who are wounded. We talk about wounded. We talk about traumatized and being wounded people and being broken. We talk about those things, right? And then you have to fix it, right? But with Language Lessons of the Heart, you start with human beings. You, me, everybody. We are infinite and immortal and what was never created. Now that's the opposite polarity of I'm a manifested spirit, I'm a small little speck of nothing that's broken and wounded, right? That's one polarity. And the other polarity is we're infinite and immortal and what was never created. And that means that nothing can actually really break you. Right? So that all the wounds and all the stuff is really just garbage in the house. It's just litter. It's accumulated dirt and all the stuff that happens from living that got loaded onto you. But who we are is infinite and immortal and what was never created. And that's how you start your healing. Not from I'm broken, wounded, victim, for life. That's not what it is. Because if you're a broken, wounded victim for life, you can never heal.
Right.
You can't heal what's actually broken. If you could actually break it, it couldn't be healed. So there was a time when you weren't broken, and there's going to be a time, and then you got then you got wounded, and there's also another time when you're no longer wounded, when you're no longer broken. And in order to do that, you have to see that overarching is that you're infinite, immortal. That means because we're made out of energy, energy cannot be created, and it cannot be destroyed. It can only be transmuted, right? So we're infinite and immortal energy. We're part of the infinite that's out there. And we were never created. Because you can't create energy, you can't create consciousness, and you can't destroy it. All you can do is manipulate it and control it and deny it and create belief systems that keep you from seeing the fullness and richness of who you are. Okay, so the next thing, that's fundamental. This is one of the fundamental truths of Language Lessons of the Heart if the healing is possible. It's possible because of who we are. Okay? And the other thing is the spirit, heart, will, and body. And I think we're going to talk to the parts of ourself today. And I don't know if you guys, have any of you ever done that, talking to the parts of self much?
No.
Yeah? You ever talk to the parts of yourself much? Okay.
Now meeting them.
Yeah. You said hello, right? Yeah.
Now knowing that you have parts.
Right.
Like most people don't. We're all up here in our spirit and our mind. We don't even. We're oblivious to it.
We're oblivious to the reality. Okay. Let's talk about the body first. When you're hungry, really, really hungry, so hungry that you can't function anymore, what happens? What is your voice? Just say something when you're really hungry. What does your voice sound like?
Irritated.
Irritated.
Yeah. Say I'm hungry in that voice of being hungry. Say I'm hungry.
I'm hungry.
Hungry.
All right. So that tells you when you're feeling your body, your voice changes.
Yeah.
Ah. How about when you're really tired? You're so tired you can't move. What's that voice? Say it. I'm tired.
I'm tired.
I'm so tired.
Okay, see? Your voice changes. Okay, now, let's say that's your body. Okay, that's two examples. You can also have lust from your body. So when you're that's good. Okay, that your voice changes, right? Or any kind of stuff that has to do with body.
You're talking to your pet and baby talk.
Yeah.
So, we'll get into that, okay? So, in your will, your emotional body. Now, when you're angry, your voice changes, right? So, say something in anger. Say, I'm angry. Huh? Yeah. Say it.
I can't believe that.
Yeah, say something. Stop it.
Stop.
Okay, see? Now, how about if you're afraid? The snake. You see? Your voice changes. It's not like the voice I'm using now. It's like, right? Or grief. See? So your emotional feeling body changes your voice. And then as you were saying, in your heart, when you really love your dog, when you really love your children, when you love your lover, what do you say? Oh, I love you. I love you, you're so wonderful. Your voice changes. Yeah? That's because we have these 4 primary parts. So say something from your heart to whatever it is you love.
I love you so much.
You're so cute. I love you.
See? And this is what talking to the parts is based on. Now you have a clear understanding that each region is like its own being, right? Its own sub-personality. I like to use the analogy of light spectrum, right? We have this light coming in. But if you held a prism up to that light, it splits into red, blue, green, and yellow, right? And those you can look at with the prism very clearly. As soon as you take the prism away, it goes back to only one thing, right? And we are one thing. But when we split ourselves into a prism, we are spirit, heart, will, and body. So these 4 parts acting as one. And that's the whole understanding of language lessons of the heart. And it's the dynamics. That's your inner family, right? That's your inner being. And it's the dynamics of what's going on between your head and your heart, your head and your body, and your head and your will. So, and it's a little bit like channeling. You can talk to them, and they can talk to you. Did everybody here play with dolls or little toys when they were little? And you have little conversations. Hi, how are you? Hi, right? You ever do that? That's called casting your voice. So the 2 little dolls or 2 little toys are talking to each other. That's what's called casting your voice. So what I want everybody to do is we're going to go back to the empowerment. Only this time we're going to make an agreement. This is an agreement. So I want you to gather up the energy. And this is just a ritual. It can be done several different ways, but I like to do it this way. Gather up the energy of your head, which is your spirit, and then look into in your hands like this and say the empowerment. I'm empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will. Will you help me? And then wait and cast your voice, and whatever it says, yes or no or nothing. So give the voice to what your spirit has to say. So go ahead and do that. Pull the energy out.
I'm empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will. Will you help me?
Will you help me?
Yes.
Yes. Strong and loving intent to heal my will. Will you help me? Yes.
Okay, everybody got a yes?
Yes.
That is talking to the parts of yourself. Guess who's next?
Heart.
Everybody do your heart.
I am empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will. Will you help me? Yes.
Excellent. Yay! Now to the big mama. She's the what do you call it? She's the star for the day. So ask her.
I am empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will. Will you help me? Yes.
Of course I will.
She said yes? How cool is that? Now with the body, you just take the whole body. Just imagine taking the whole body and put it in your hand. I'm empowering myself with a strong and loving intent to heal my will. Will you help me? Yes, yes, yes. 1,000 times yes.
Strong and loving intent to heal my will. Will you help me? Yes.
Okay, and what have we done? This is so simple, but again, it is core. It is primal. So perhaps in the first time in your life, you've been congruent. What does congruent mean? That means your head, your heart, your will, and your body are all going in the same direction and in agreement. Can you hear that? Can you feel that? That may have never happened to you consciously. It might have happened subconsciously, but consciously, where you know that every part of you is saying, okay, you got this. I'm behind you. Yeah? I just got chills doing that, you know? So that's like, okay. So, do it again with do the whole process by yourself with I want to live and then I want to feel. So each one, just with I want to live, will you help me? I want to feel, because you want to be congruent, you want an agreement, or you want resistance, whatever it is.
I want to be fulfilled. Will you help me?
Yes.
Yes. I want to be fulfilled. Will you help me? Yes. I want to be fulfilled. Will you help me? Yes.
Will you help me? Yes.
I want to be fulfilled. Will you help me?
Help me.
Yes.
Yes.
I want to live. Will you help me? Yes.
I want to live. You help me.
I want to live. Will you help me? Yes.
I want to live. Will you help me?
I want to live. Will you help me? Yes.
Will you help me?
I want to live. Will you help me? Yes.
Will you help me? Yes.
I just felt the vibration in the room just go up. I don't know if you guys did. How cool is that?
That's really cool.
Now, this is like so. This is probably it was simple, right? But this is also one of the most difficult of the processes, because this is like looking at the man in the mirror, looking at the woman in the mirror, and you cannot lie, you cannot cheat, you cannot fool them. They have been with you from the beginning. They know they know what you don't know. So, in a way, it's sort of like this is their body, and you're the visitor. You know, you're and they honor you, respect and love you, and allow you to be the queen, the ruler, the god of this body, right? And this is the change in government. This is the change in government. This is epic. When the government says, will you help me? I love you. Will you help me? And the body of the people, the will of the people, and the heart of the people say yes. This is the change in government that we all are looking for on the outside. How cool is that? It is as simple as that. If our reality and our family and our relationships are based on that, there's no way that the government couldn't be based on that. It has to be, but because we're in the brain dominant, spirit dominant, that's the way it is, then that's the kind of a government you get, which is heartless and willless and soulless. Now, what you can do with this is amazing. You want to go to Spain? What are your future? What do you want in the future? Anything? You want to be a teacher? You know? Okay, whatever it is that you want, okay? So now you have 4 friends that are on your team 100%. What do you think about going to be a teacher? What do you think about going to Spain? What do you think about this relationship? And you say, you ask questions. Yeah? Should I do this? Should I not do this? What do you think? And you can debate it all out. So your heart may say, well, I don't know, the time doesn't feel right, or I'm scared. Right now, if your heart or let's say your emotional body says, I don't know, something new, I'm afraid. Now, if you know that your will is saying, I'm afraid, I got butterflies, then you can process that. Well, I'm going to take care of this, and you tell your will. You see what I'm saying? It's so that your heart and your will are going in 2 different directions, and your body's going in another direction, and the body's going, well, I'll go along with it, we'll see what happens. And you see what I'm saying? So you become 4 times more intelligent. Right now, you're 4 times more intelligent than you've ever been in your life because you have 4 times access to your own wisdom. This is phenomenal. In the history of humanity, this little exercise, as simple as it is, has never happened before. It's always been us and God, or us and the Guru, or us and... You see what I'm saying? It's never been us connecting to our own divinity, our own primal core. And when it comes to the healing work, you know, you can do an apology, right? So we all have things to apologize for. So let's go through and just apologize of anything that we might have done, or we've been hurt, or carried something around. Please forgive me. I love you. Things happened in the past. I couldn't help it. I'm so sorry. So give an apology for whatever may have happened. Apologize. And sincerely apologize for, you know, you didn't know. It wasn't your fault. It happened. You couldn't stop it. You know, you were too little. You're too powerless, or something happened to you that you couldn't control. But that apology, and ask for forgiveness. Will you forgive me? Please forgive me. Yeah? In a way, this is like ho'onoponopono, right? That's basically what it is. So let's go through, and each one of you, ask for forgiveness for the Spirit. Spirit didn't know that it was in control, didn't know, right? Heart didn't know. Or, you know, and so ask for forgiveness for the pains and bumps and bruises that we've all had.
I apologize. Will you forgive me? I love you. Thank you. I apologize. I love you. Will you forgive me? Thank you. I apologize. I love you. Will you forgive me? Thank you. I apologize. Will you forgive me? I love you. Will you forgive me? Thank you. I apologize. I'm sorry. I love you. Will you forgive me? Thank you.
Got a little bit more serious then, didn't it? Okay, let me tell you something interesting about this. You ever heard of Rumi? Rumi, the great, I think he's a Sufi philosopher. And there's a lot of poetry and stuff. When you talk about the beloved, when you talk about that, they always talk about that, you know, the God or the truth or whatever. But when you change and shift your beloved from your man, the mind is the man, and your will is the woman. When the mind and the spirit falls in love with the will inside and talks in a loving way continuously to the will, spirit to will. I love you. You're so beautiful. You're so wonderful. You're so fabulous. I'm so in love with you, right? If you could do this, over time, your Kundalini will awaken just by being loving to your will, which is loving to the mother, which is loving to the goddess. Just by being loving, saying loving words directly to your will consciously, as a conscious relationship, your Kundalini will arise. How incredible is that? How powerful is this? When we talk about you know, the power of words, how words can make, the words can make something rotten or die or live. This is the power of words. Dr. Emoto, right? You love your water, or you love your food. But when you put that love, when you put those words of love into your will, so people who practice Kundalini yoga, they actually do it with locks. Lock your throat, lock your heart, lock your solar plexus, then lock your lower belly, and then lock your ass. And you apply pressure, and your Kundalini will rise, right? But very few know that you can do the same thing. You can activate your actual Kundalini, because we're talking about goddess energy. We're talking about core energy here. Just by continuously being loving to her and create and allow her to be the object of your love, Kundalini will rise by itself, just from love. That is the result you want. And when it rises, it goes through your heart's enlivened, your brain's enlivened. The people who will talk about it in Kundalini awakening is like, that's when your internal computer is actually switched on. Right now, our biocomputer is like running on battery mode, it's on sleep mode, right? But when it's really turned on, it's like a whole different thing. Okay, now, with talking to the parts of self, you have issues of the past. What was happening in my childhood? What was happening in my teenage years? What kind of stuff are you holding on to? You want to build that kind of a relationship with talking to the parts of self. What do you want to eat for lunch? Yeah? Should we eat vegan? Should we eat tacos? Should we, or ice cream or no ice cream? You see? You take those kind of small considerations and run it past your being. Right? If you're sick, what can I do to make you better? And you ask each one, what do you think? And you can double team. Well, say you have some issue that you're working on, and it's in your emotional body. You say, well, heart, what do you think this is? What's going on with my will? What is she holding on to? And heart has a different perspective on what the emotional body is, because the heart saw it happening, or your spirit, you see, or your body reflected into the body. You can ask your body, well, is what's causing you illness, is it the flu, or is it some kind of emotional thing? You see, all of a sudden you have this huge access to the library of understanding of who you are. And that's why I'm saying this is kind of epic in terms of human consciousness, because human beings have never had access to this kind of level of consciousness before. It's always been other. It's always been the teacher, the healer, or the shaman, or the saint telling you what's up. But now you have access to this. And the other thing I want to say about the parts of self is just that, like, we have a God, right? And we think we have this God. And the God, and so one way of looking at it is God is our higher self, right? Which is different than a separate God. So we have like a higher self God, okay? Which is okay. But each one of these parts has a higher self. So in Hindu, this is Shiva and this is Shakti, or Durga, or Kali. So when we're moving our emotions, a primal scream, that's Kali, right? And when you're loving your dog, that's Durga. You see what I'm saying? So each one of these things, and then there's the Christ is in the heart, or the Buddha is in the heart, the compassion of Christ, the compassion of Buddha, right? So each one of these things has a higher self to it. Now, when you're doing your process work, and you're talking to the parts of yourself, and you're at home, and right, it is then that those higher selves can come. So you might be talking to your heart, and all of a sudden you hear something else going on, and you realize that that's the higher self of heart, or the higher self of spirit, which is God talking to you. You see what I'm saying? This is pretty cool stuff. This is very cool stuff. And it may not happen, but the door is open. Right? Just this simple communication. And the reason why it's so astounding is because nobody told us that we couldn't do it, that we could do it. You know what I'm saying? We have the act, we're connected to everything anyway, but nobody told us, oh, by the way, you could talk to four faces of God inside you that are connected to you, and that they're your personal representations of what that is, your personal connection to your personal higher self. That is what's talking to the parts of self is. So processing your emotions, healing your internal relationships, right? By talking to them and let's work out this family thing. Heart wants to do this and I don't want to go to work, right? But I have to go to work. And so you make a compromise. Well, okay, we'll play on Saturday, but I have to go to work now. You see that you can work out those kind of internal relationships. So nobody's feeling left out and everybody's kind of included in the whole game. So internal atmosphere of love and cooperation. That's the next thing I want you to say. I would like to create an internal atmosphere of love and cooperation. Will you help me? So let's do that one. Hello, Spirit. I would like to create an internal atmosphere of love and cooperation. Will you help me?
Hello, Spirit. I would like to create an internal atmosphere of love
and cooperation.
Will you help me? Hello, Spirit. I would like to create an atmosphere of love and cooperation. Will you help me? Hello, Spirit. I would like to create an atmosphere of love and cooperation. Will you help me?
What did it say?
Yes.
Keep going. You got heart and will and body.
I would like to create an atmosphere of love and cooperation. Will you help me? Yes.
Now do with your heart, your will, and your body.
Heart.
We have four, so you have to do four.
I would like to create an atmosphere of love and cooperation. Will you help me? Yes. Thank you. Hello, Will. I would like to create an atmosphere of love and cooperation. Will you help me? Yes. Thank you.
You good?
Hello,
Keep going.
body. I would like to create an atmosphere of love and cooperation. Will you help me? Yes. Thanks.
Have to do it loud enough so your ears can hear. That makes it real for them. It's not just a thought. It's a declaration. It's an expression.
And a vibration.
And a vibration. Yeah. And an intention. Furniture being moved around. Stuff that was blocking your passages before starting to be moved out of the way. So cool.
Good.
You feel connected now? How's it feel?
Good. New and exciting.
Yeah, everything in sync and cooperating.
Congruent. And you know, people there's people all over Austin that want to be authentic. Everybody wants to be authentic. But all authentic is when your words and your feelings, your spirit, heart, will, and body are all moving in the same direction at the same time. That's authentic. That's to be congruent. That's being real. And now you know how to do it. If you're not being real, you can find out why you're not being real, who's having an issue, or who's being pulled in the other way, or who's shy. And sort it out, work it out. Be the loving parent. Be the ideal goddess, or the ideal queen of the queendom, of the kingdom.
I feel like I can feel stuff here, but I can't feel it here.
Well, okay. We can work on that later. But what I want to do is everybody stand up for a minute and gather around on this right in here. And we're going to do a happy dance. Okay? Just a little yay. Give it like just feel, because we did something amazing. So let's, yeah, yay. But give it a big yay.
I'll take it.
Make some sound. Yay! We did something amazing. We just did something. In the history of humanity, in the history of our humanity, we just did something amazing.
So amazing.